You don't fail because you're not capable. You fail because you stopped trying too soon. And the worst part is you've gotten really good at convincing yourself that you tried enough. You tell yourself, it just wasn't meant for me. You say, maybe I'm not that type of person. You blame timing, luck, other people. But deep down, there's a quiet voice that keeps asking you one question: what if you just didn't try long enough? Most people never answer that question honestly because the answer is uncomfortable. And you've felt it too, that moment when you start something new, a goal, a habit, a dream. At first, it feels exciting. You're motivated, focused, determined. You tell yourself, this time is different. But then it gets hard, not dramatically hard, not in some cinematic, heroic way, just quietly hard. It becomes repetitive, boring, slow. You stop seeing results. You start doubting yourself. And suddenly the thing that once excited you feels heavy. So you take a break. You tell yourself it's temporary. I'll get back to it tomorrow. But tomorrow turns into next week. Next week turns into I'll start again soon. And just like that, another thing you most did becomes part of your past. You don't even notice it happening anymore because it's become your pattern. Start, feel motivated, lose momentum, stop, repeat. And the scariest part, you still believe you're trying. You still believe you're someone who wants more. But wanting more and actually trying for it are two completely different lives. There's a story most people never think about. Imagine two people both start at the same place, same skills, same dreams, same energy. On day one, they look identical. They both decide they're going to change their life. The first person starts strong. They work hard for a few days, maybe even a few weeks. But then the excitement fades. They don't feel like doing it anymore. So they slow down. They skip a day, then another. Eventually, they stop. Not because they couldn't continue, but because they didn't feel like continuing. The second person, they're not more talented, they're not more motivated, but they make one different choice. They keep going, even when it's boring, even when it feels pointless, even when they don't see results. They keep trying. At first, nothing changes. Days pass, weeks pass. It still feels hard. There's no big breakthrough, no sudden success, just effort, quiet, consistent effort. If you looked at them from the outside, you might even think they're wasting their time. But something is happening that most people never see. They're building a version of themselves that doesn't quit, and that changes everything. Because success isn't built in moments of motivation. It's built in moments when you don't feel like continuing, but you do it anyway. Now, fast forward, a year later, the first person is still starting over, still saying, this time I'll be consistent. Still waiting for the right mood, the right energy, the right moment. They've started 10 different things, but finished none. The second person, they're not perfect. They had bad days, they messed up. They doubted themselves more times than they can count, but they never fully stopped. And because of that, they're no longer the same person. They've improved, grown, evolved, not because they were better, but because they tried longer. This is the part no one likes to talk about. Trying is not exciting. It's not glamorous. It doesn't feel powerful most of the time. It feels small, repetitive, almost invisible. And that's why people quit, because they expect trying to feel like progress. But real progress doesn't feel like anything at all. It just feels like showing up again and again and again, even when nothing seems to be happening. And this is where most people lose, not at the beginning, not when things are hard, but in the middle, that long, quiet stretch where nothing changes. And it feels like it never will. That's where dreams disappear, not because they were impossible, but because they were abandoned. Now imagine yourself 5 years from today, not the version you hope for, the version you're heading toward right now, if nothing changes. You wake up, your life looks familiar, too familiar, the same thoughts, the same routines, the same excuses, and then it hits you. All those things you once wanted, they're still just ideas in your head. You never became that person. Not because you couldn't, but because you stopped trying every time it got uncomfortable. And now, you don't just feel disappointed, you feel something heavier, regret. Not regret for failing, but regret for not truly trying, for stopping when you were closer than you thought, for giving up on versions of yourself that could have existed. That feeling, it stays with people for years, sometimes for life. But here's the truth most people never realize until it's too late. You don't need to be extraordinary to change your life. You don't need some sudden transformation. You don't need perfect discipline or endless motivation. You just need to stop stopping. That's it. You need to become someone who keeps going, not perfectly, but consistently. Because every time you continue when you feel like quitting, you're breaking a pattern. Every time you show up when it's hard, you're building something real. And slowly, your identity starts to change. You're no longer the person who almost tries. You become the person who follows through. And that shift is everything. Because once you trust yourself to keep going, everything else becomes possible. You stop fearing failure. You stop overthinking every decision. You stop waiting for the perfect moment because you know something most people don't. You know that even if it doesn't work immediately, you won't stop. And that gives you an advantage that talent can't replace. There will still be days when you don't feel like it. Days when everything feels pointless. Days when quitting feels easier. But those days, they are the most important ones. Because that's where your future is decided, not when you feel motivated, but when you don't. Anyone can try when it feels good. Very few people try when it feels hard. And those few people, they're the ones who eventually win. Not because they're lucky, but because they stayed in the game longer than everyone else. So the next time you feel like stopping, pause for a second. Ask yourself one simple question. Am I actually done or am I just uncomfortable? Because most of the time, you're not done. You're just at the point where growth begins. And if you can push through that moment, even just a little, you change the direction of your life. You don't need to do something big. You don't need to fix everything today. You just need to try again, one more time, then again tomorrow, and the day after that, until trying is no longer something you do. It becomes who you are. And once that happens, everything changes. Your results, your confidence, your life. Because the truth is simple. The life you want is not far away. It's just hidden behind the moments you keep avoiding, the effort you keep delaying, the discomfort you keep escaping. But it's there, waiting on the other side of trying. So don't wait for motivation. Don't wait for the perfect time. Don't wait until you feel ready. Just start. And when it gets hard, don't stop. Because this time, you're not someone who almost tried. This time, you're someone who keeps going.